Hi, my name is Associate Professor Ralph Buck and I'm Head of Dance Studies here at the University of Auckland. I've been here for, 18 years. 18 years, yes. I came from the University of Otago where I finished my PhD there, and before that I was a special needs teacher and a secondary school physical education teacher and a primary school teacher in Australia. I have vast experience in writing policy for the Minister in Queensland, and so I came to this position with a very strong interest in education, not so much in teaching students to be performers, but more to be all-round, holistic, good at everything in dance, because that's what I have found to be the thing of the future and the thing that's needed.
My name's Sarah Wormsley. I'm a third year, currently studying the undergraduate degree of Bachelor of Dance Studies. I originally came from Te Puke, so I didn't live in Auckland. So I moved up here, which was a crazy move because I didn't know anybody and I didn't know what the dance scene was up here. But I came up for the audition and I just loved the program. And I've always loved dance, and I did a little bit of dancing. I did tap and jazz, competition dancing when I was in high school, and I danced in the high school dance program in my high school. And I just loved dance and I wanted to keep going, and I was like, where can I do it? And then I came up here for the audition and it was amazing, and I came up for the open day and just the whole department was so welcoming, and everybody was so nice, and all the current dance studies students that were here, they were so welcoming, and I was like, this is the place that I want to come and a place that I want to be able to do what I love. So I was like, it was nice, I liked it.
It's good.
And I made some friends,
good to have you here,
nice.
Sarah.
I made some friends, it was cool. But yeah, no, it's definitely been one of the best choices of my life to come up here. I love it.
Hi, my name is Vila Junior Lemanu. I'm a graduate of this degree. I started in 2015. I'm a South Auckland boy, came from Otahu College. I came because I wanted to become a dance teacher, and then learned a whole bunch of stuff here and ended up changing my course of my future plans and everything. Now I'm currently a freelance dancer and actor. I also, started my first year as a fixed-term part-time lecturer here in some courses. And just finding my way through.
So the teachers we have a whole host of different types of teachers with different skills, and they're all different, and that's purposeful, because I don't want all the teachers teaching in the same way or teaching from the same position. So as Sarah said, Sarah Knox comes from a strong performance choreographic background, and that's what she teaches. And Sarah would have also had some classes from Becca Weber, Dr. Becca Weber, and Dr. Snook or whatever, and we talked mostly about how to teach and dance education, how to move the body safely. So Villa, so you didn't go into it, but you've done a lot of stuff out there.
I've seen over a number of years different tour groups. I really adapted a lot of what I learned at the University of Auckland into a lot of those performances, and I felt like I could see it throughout the years as well. I felt like every year that I've done a performance, there's always something that I've picked up from either classes or just with working with friends at the university. And I've felt myself develop over time, and I always have to bring it back to the University of Auckland. And it's really cool what you start looking at or how you look at dance.
And I think one of the things you said, which is really important, is working with your friends or your peers.
Yeah.
Like these dance studios, in a normal period of time, are quite busy up to 11 o'clock at night, and they start being busy around 9 o'clock in the morning, sometimes earlier. But they're booked out by these guys doing their work and just working together. And it's a very loose kind of situation, but that working with your friends is invaluable. And that's when you sort out all sorts of how-to kind of situations. So where we do our work are in these studios all the time, and we sort of want them to be your space. They're sort of not the university space, even though they are, but I want the students to own the space. So it's very much you come in, you look after it, but for your time, make it your own, move the curtains, however you want to, put your own music on. And we've got studio here, a studio there, so 3 studios in this building and another very large studio down there. And we're very proud of our studios now, they're great. And upstairs we have amazing postgraduate facilities for all the writing and the reading and carrying on. Like really amazing research facilities. Again, we're very, very, very proud of that. So it's great.
Yeah, so I feel like everyone that's in high school probably is feeling the same thing. Like I remember feeling really, really anxious and unsure about university because I didn't know what it would feel like, be like. Everything that was talked about university is very, very stressful and you know, like very intellectual. And for a person like me, I get stressed quite easy. So I was very scared. I know that for sure. And I was doing research into what I wanted to do, and I was looking into dance institutions. I went to quite a few dance institutions just to check out the space. And the University of Auckland actually had to sign up a lot online and everything first, so I was still quite skeptical until I came to the audition day. Come to the audition day, you'll know straight away. As soon as you walk into the space, you'll see a whole bunch of students. Everyone's in the same boat, everyone's scared. Sometimes there will be a few students that are already know each other and they're like together, and that makes you scared because you're not with anyone. Sarah Knox and yourself came as well, being dressed up like this too. That's scary, okay, if you come in suits. But yeah, as soon as Ralph talks, he puts you off guard and you realize everyone's just human. And yeah, I just remember playing games, meeting with people. I met a whole bunch of my class's names on that day. And yeah, it completely just broke this myth that it's this really scary place. And I knew straight away that, yeah, it was a really communal vibe. The people are cool. Yeah, I had a whole bunch of laughs that day. I already felt like I was part of the degree. And so for me, yeah, my experience going from high school to university was a really easy shift.
Well, I come from Te Puke, so that's like not in Auckland. It's quite far away from Auckland, a little small town. But so the audition was scary for me because I didn't know what the dance scene in Auckland was. I was like, I didn't know what the level was, how good I had to be. Like that was probably what scared me the most, is that I had no clue what to expect. I hadn't done auditions like that before. And because I think it's such an audition that holds such a heavy weight to me, because I was like, I want to do this. Like this is my future. If I don't do well, then what am I gonna do, you know? But I got there.
No pressure, Sarah.
Yeah, well, that's what I felt like, and I feel like that's what lots of people feel, because auditioning to get into a university degree is different to just having to get a rank score to get in, and I think that's what in dance kind of scared me a little bit. But then I got there, and it was like, I didn't know a single person. There were people in the room who knew each other, which like same as you, was a little bit scary. But as soon like 5 minutes in, it was totally the opposite. Like all of you guys came in, we talked, and all the dance study students were so lovely. They were so nice. They all got along, and it kind of gave me an insight of like what the department was like. It wasn't like this one where they stood and watched me dance and were like judging how good I am. It was more of like, I was seeing what the department was like, and the department was seeing how like I fit into it, you know? And it was really nice. And even when you have like an interview and have a chat in it, it was not about like, show me all your experience and who are you. It was kind of just like, hi, like, nice to meet you, how are you? Like the same kind of thing. It's just like, you want to see us and we want to see you, you know? It was kind of like a two-way street. And I literally remember leaving that day, and I had the biggest smile on my face, and my mum was like, what happened in there? She was like, I thought you were going into an audition. And she was like, literally, if you get into that is the place to go. She's like, because the way you came out of that is just like, you were so happy and you just felt yourself, even though you didn't know a single person in the room when you walked in. And so I think that's like an amazing part. So the audition, although it sounds scary, is really the opposite. Like it's literally like gave me a step into what this degree was like. So then coming in, I knew what to expect. The first day when you met everybody, I was like, it's the same. Like I saw people I saw on that day, and we did stuff. We played the games we did, and we saw the lectures, and you guys are all so lovely. So I was like, it was nice.
So I just want to share a quick experience of a moment that switched for me during the audition, and it was when, so before you go into the audition, you'll notice that you have to have a little interview with the head of department. And I remember interviews, I didn't have much experience of interviews, so I was really, really nervous, and I was like, okay, cool. So I wrote down like a whole CV of everything that I've done, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna say this. They're gonna like me. I just kept saying they're gonna like me because I've done all of these things, and I've written down everything, and I come up to this interview, and I sit down with Ralph, and the first thing he asked me was, yeah, so how's your day? And I was like, yeah, it was good. And I was about to get my CV out. He was like, oh yeah, so how's your school? What did you do at school? What's dance like at your schools? And then I think that was the interview. As soon as he asked me that, I think we were done. But what I got from that was that they care more about the people in this degree. They care more about if you have a genuine curiosity about dance, and if they can see that you're someone that's serious about dance and want to take it further, or if you're someone that is genuinely there, just interested and wanting to learn more about dance, then that's really what they care about. And so that was a really cool epiphany that I had during that audition.
It's great. I'm very glad that's how you feel. I'm very glad that's how you feel, because that's exactly what we're trying to make people feel, is welcome, home, safe.
Before I talk about me going out, I wanted to talk about all of the stuff that I thought about while I was in, because there's so many things that I was like, I definitely knew by the end of the degree I wanted to become a dance teacher, that was for sure. But after my first year, I realized there's a whole multitude of dance opportunities, or just job opportunities that dance studies can help you get into. For example, after my first year, we did quite a few lessons on kinesiology. I think that was first year or second year. But I remember after that, being like, wow, I really like this. I like studying muscles. I like how they connect to each other. I was like, cool. You know what? I'm gonna be a massage therapist by the end of this course. And I was like, sweet, I'm definitely sussed on that. And then as soon as I hit dance technique, I was like, nah, I want to go back to being a dance teacher. So in the whole course of 4 years, because I was there for 4 years, because I did it part-time in a few years, in the last 2 years of study, I wanted to be a dance teacher, dance physiotherapist, a lecturer at the university, a professional choreographer, a professional dancer. I wanted to dance for a company. What else did I want to do? I wanted to teach primary school at one point, and then I wanted to what else did I want to do? There's so many. Just become a dance scholar, go into postgraduate studies. That's just off the top of my head, like right now. There's quite a few things that I wanted to do. Just a lot of jobs that popped up that I didn't even know was a job. So that was real interesting. But what was also cool about that was by the end of my third year, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. So even though there was so many job opportunities and focuses that I could have gone to, by the end of that whole course, I knew, I was quite certain on what I wanted to do. Currently, I'm teaching part-time, fixed term as a lecturer, which suits really well with what I want to do, because I'm also freelancing as a dancer and choreographer, and an actor. And at the same time, I'm also teaching workshops, acting workshops with Massive Theatre Company, as well as dance workshops in schools, which I'm still in the mix of talking with dance teachers about. And what else am I doing? And I'm working on shows,
So it's quite a mix of things.
Yes.
You're not a thing, but many jobs at the same time.
Yeah.
Is that hard to manage?
No, and I can tell you why. Because during my second year of university, you have dance vocab, which is pretty much the choreography paper. And there's a chance for you to dance in other people's works and other people's choreography. In that span, I was in quite I dug myself into a hole, if that's the term, painted myself into a corner. And I was in a multitude of pieces. I was in 7 different choreographies, I think, that year. And what that meant was I had to be really on point with my time management, with my discipline, with my schedule. And rather than learning that I had to not do that, I learned how to manage that. And so from there, I'm quite experienced now in terms of like managing such a busy schedule.
at the beginning of this year, that was when we were meant to go on tour, but unfortunately we didn't because of COVID. But I did the whole 2-month training period up until the day we were pretty much meant to leave, and we still did the show. I loved it, like I really did. It was an amazing experience. It was something that definitely highlighted this degree for me as well, because it's an opportunity that you don't really get offered anywhere else, and it's such a unique opportunity. And so basically you were in the studio every day from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m, 10-hour days. It was quite long days, but you spend the whole day like working with your peers, and you're constantly bettering yourself as an artist. They get choreographers from the industry who are relevant to come in and they work with you. And then we did lots of different styles. We did hip hop, we did a Pacific piece, we did a jazz piece, we did a comedic piece. It was really interesting because I'd never explored that before.
Did you do ballroom as well?
Yeah, and there was a ballroom piece. It was, we had the whole lineup. We did a little bit of everything.
It was a very, very mixed bag this year, which was great.
Which was amazing, because lots of that, it was amazing to see how everybody, because all of us come from different backgrounds in dance. We don't all have the same experience, but to put all of us in a scenario where we had to do that together was amazing to see how we all came out of it. And you became a better teacher, you became a better collaborator in the space, you became a better artist in yourself because you've got all this diverse experience, and you're working with artists who have had this experience in the industry. And ours was led by Sarah Knox, so she was an amazing teacher. So she taught us so many valuable things, which I think they would have been amazing to use on tour, but also just within my practice today and with who I am as a person is just so beneficial. It just helped the way you think and the way you act and the way you like present yourself in a space is just so valuable. And I think that's what I loved it. So it was unfortunate we didn't get to go on the tour, but I would do all those 10-hour days again just for what I learned and what I got out of it. So yes, it was amazing. I loved it. Because right now I'm like halfway through my 3rd year, and what I found throughout this degree is that I like love it all. Everything I feel like is so relevant within the industry now, same as you, that I just want to like put a foot in the door in all of it. I want to keep my options open, and so I love the idea of teaching. Like that's something I really want to do, and I'm starting to get into more. And then I also love being in a studio. Like that is where I feel at home, like collaborating with my peers. And then I also love the research aspect of it and like taking dance further than just what's in the studio. And so that stuff is like amazing, and I have the opportunity to do all of that. Like I have the opportunity to do postgrad, which I'm really interested in because it sounds amazing. But then also being a part of dance studies I think is so valuable, because you are going into the industry with all these friends and all these peers at the same time. So I could go into the industry and put on a show with all my people that are in my class, like all my friends, because all of us have the same experience, and the stuff you learn at the university is relevant. It's part of the industry today. You're learning from lecturers who have done stuff in the industry who are still in there. You like get taught in technique papers by people who are putting on shows. You like all of that kind of stuff opens up opportunities and gives you connections that are just friendships. It's not like you have to network to get into it. It's like you know these people, they're your friends, you've hung out with them, you can go get coffee with them. Like that kind of stuff I think is so valuable, because and the fact that we get to do whatever we want to do. Like I always get asked by my mum, she's like, so what are you gonna do? And I'm like, everything. Like I'm literally gonna do it all. But I don't know how I'm gonna do it.
How are you gonna do that?
But it's like I have the opportunity to do that. I can carry on my research, and later on I could go and put on a show, or I could do some dance classes on the side. Like it doesn't mean that once you leave the university all the stuff that you're doing has to stop. You have the opportunity to engage with it, even though it might be like on the side I might take a dance class, whereas like full time I'm researching. Like all of that kind of stuff is possible, and that's what I like. It means that I don't have to stop doing what I love, because I love it all, which is really nice. And I definitely put in like a highlight on the fact that you know people and that your friends are there to support you. Like the support system within the degree is so lovely. Like that's a big thing for me. The whole first year, the support that I got, especially because I didn't come from here and I didn't know the companies in Auckland, and I didn't know all of that kind of stuff. It's like I got supported through that, and I feel like that support has still carried me through my degree and will continue to carry me like through once I've left.
I personally just ended up feeling supported, like what Sarah was saying, like just with the peers, but also the lecturers, because the lecturers are very just easy to talk to. Mm-hmm. And so there are definitely certain lecturers throughout my first year that I could just, if I had a problem or if I had an issue, I'd just go up to the lecturer and just tell them, talk to them. There's also the tour kind of program, which is a Māori and Pacific program that helps, it's a program that helps Māori and Pacific students just with work, or just to have a collaborative space in order to talk about anything that they're finding tricky. Sometimes they'll just open it up to anyone that's feeling the same problems. But yeah, I personally didn't even feel super stressed out, or I felt very supported by just the whole dance studies program.
And what was support when you say support? Was it the same, just teachers and friends? And
I think it was definitely the same. And I also think it was the fact that being in this degree, people know your name, like they know who you are. I think that's a big thing. It's not like you're just like another number coming into the degree. It's like pretty much everybody in the degree knows I'm not from here. Like they know what my parents do. Like all my friends know who I am. They know where I live. Like all of that kind of stuff gives you a support in your degree in a way that I think is so valuable.
I wish I learned about scholarships earlier. I wish I knew about grants earlier. And I think it's weird because it's something that's so easy to find. Like if you go onto the university website and just write scholarships, you'll come up with a whole bunch of links and articles. And even if you don't even come across that, you could always ask Ralph or other lecturers or even students. Because there's so many opportunities there to get some scholarships, some help, some support.
I moved from Te Puke. Obviously, I didn't really know anybody up here, so I stayed in the halls for my first year. So that's also an added cost on top of the degree. But before I came up here, my mum was a big advocate and just like apply for anything and everything. And so I applied for lots of the scholarships at the University of Auckland, and I applied for those big 20 grand scary ones, that top achiever, all of that. And unfortunately, I didn't get one of those. But what was amazing within that is I didn't get one of those, but in the process, my name had got nominated to the panel in the creative arts and industries for a scholarship that I didn't even know existed. I didn't even know it was a thing. And so I got nominated for that, and luckily I got awarded that. So I got this email one day being like, hey, here's a scholarship that you didn't apply for. And so that gave me 5 grand in my first year to help out with halls. And that was just from applying for a scholarship that I didn't really meet all the requirements for, but I was like, why not? Like, see how it goes.
Top tip, there's a whole bunch of things, but for me to leave with you now, dance studies is gonna push your understanding of dance, just in the wider sense. So my top tip would be to remain open, especially in this first year. There's gonna be a whole bunch of stuff that they're gonna try and teach you in this first year. So just remain open, absorb as much stuff as you need, stay curious, and also just this is not even one tip, there's like a whole bunch of tips. Just bring yourself as well. Like it's not about conforming or in any sense, it's about how you develop and your interests and your just being you pretty much. So yeah, all of those things.
Mine kind of goes off what Vila's is. Mine is kind of just bring your whole self to the degree. Don't be afraid to bring where you come from, who you are, the people you know, the people you don't know. Like all of that is relevant within the space. And so even though it might be a scary thing to come into somewhere where you don't know anybody and you're bringing your dance, which is such like a personal thing for you, is like bring it all. Don't be afraid to be who you are and like stand out or like talk to people and get to know everybody, because it's such an important thing. This degree is tailored for you to be who you are and then like thrive within that. Like it's tailored for you to go where you want, and all the stuff we learn and all the papers and everything we do is tailored so you can follow your interests within that. They're not aiming, as like Vila said, for you to become a certain thing. They want you to become everything you want to be. And so just bring your whole self and don't be afraid like of who you are, because it's so important. And I feel like everybody in the degree, you see that, like you constantly are getting inspired by everybody, and so take all of that in, like learn from everybody, learn from the diversity within this degree, because it's so valuable. And then going into the industry, like keep doing that, just keep bringing who you are and just showing it and having fun and being groovy.
But thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
It's really great, and it's very, very, very inspiring listening to you both. And I feel like it's a great introduction for other people, and I look forward to meeting lots and lots of new students as you apply, as you audition, as you ring up, sending emails, and welcome to the University of Auckland Dance Studies.